Hello, everyone. It's 12 o'clock, so we'll get started. On behalf of the Central East Stroke Network, welcome to our webinar today, What's Available in North Simcoe Muskoka, an online information series sponsored by the Central East Stroke Network. This series will showcase the adaptations and innovations of local community programs that are supporting persons with stroke during COVID-19. So this session is being recorded. It will later be uploaded to the Central East Stroke Network website. You can see the website link on the screen. Handouts are available. They are available within the GoToWebinar module. There's a handouts section. You can click on that and download the handouts from the presenters. A link to the handouts will also be emailed to participants following the session. If you have any questions for our speakers, then we ask that you type them into the questions tab on the webinar module. We will monitor questions that are submitted and read them out at the end of the session after both speakers have had an opportunity to share information on their programs. So we'll be hearing from two programs today. There was a switch in programs presenting. Initially, the self-management program was going to present as well today. However, they will be presenting at a later date. And so today we'll be hearing from Rainey Jasma, Coordinator of Stroke Services with March of Dimes. And then we'll be hearing from Kathy Sulman, who is Program Manager with Brain Injury Services, Simcoe Muskoka. So Rainey, if you want to go ahead, I'll advance your slides for you.
Yeah, no, I'm so happy to be here today because I know we've all been going through so many changes with the pandemic, and so our team has been working really hard to transition everything from our in-person programming and bringing it online to virtual programming. And so I'm happy to share that with you today here. If you want to go to the next slide. I'll just quickly introduce myself again. As Danelda said, my name is Rainey Jansma. I'm the Stroke Services Coordinator for the March of Dimes After Stroke program, and I specifically cover the North Simcoe Muskoka region. We do have coordinators in various regions throughout Ontario as well, but I'll be speaking more to this region, of course, today. So for those of you who aren't familiar with our After Stroke program, our vision for After Stroke is to have a world where everyone impacted by stroke live life with renewed purpose and optimism, and inspire others to do the same. Our mission for After Stroke is to deliver person-to-person support, educational opportunities, and innovative community-based programs that provide a connection to humanity, hope, and life after stroke. We believe everyone deserves to live the best life they can after stroke. And next. So here I have, just a kind of a glance at what we're offering for our virtual activities. This is our staple, what we do week by week, same time, same Zoom link, everything we keep the same just to have that familiarity. And we see often the same participants each week, which has been great. But of course, we always want to continue welcoming new participants and spread the word so that we can get these groups growing a bit more and get more isolated stroke survivors into groups if that's what they so need. So just a quick glance, and I will go over these a little bit more in the next slide. But so Mondays, we have our Ask an Expert, 1 o'clock, our APHASIA Connect virtual group. Tuesdays, we have our chair exercises for stroke recovery, and then our After Stroke virtual conversation. Wednesdays is our caregiver special interest topics. Currently on hiatus for summer, we know a lot of our caregivers and participants were going away and just trying to enjoy a bit of, the freedom that we have now with some things lessening up here. So that'll start up again in September. And then we have our virtual stroke recovery program at 4. Thursdays, we have another After Stroke virtual conversation, but this time at 10 a.m. Our chair exercises again for stroke recovery, APHASIA Connect virtual group, and then caregiver connections. So same as is on Wednesdays, this will be starting up again in September as well. And then Friday, we have our special interest topics and virtual stroke recovery program at 4. So on the next slide here, I'll just tell you a little bit more about each of these programs. So our Ask an Expert and our special interest topics on Monday and Friday It's where you can learn about different topics related to stroke recovery and interact with experts in the field. So these topics will vary week to week and often is dependent on where we see the conversations going in our groups, what we think the need is, what we get requests for. We'll have experts in these fields come share and facilitate an interesting discussion with their, their field of expertise. And so, we've had nutritionists come in, talk about meal planning, how to plan your meals and eat nutritiously during this time. We've had someone from the CRA come talk about taxes and benefits and eligibility for all of that. So we do have a wide variety of different topics. And again, completely dependent on what is needed at the time. So then we also have our Aphasia Connect virtual group. This is where you can join people with aphasia and other communication disorders in a communicatively accessible conversation. It's an opportunity to meet new people and stay connected, and of course, everything aphasia friendly, yeah, that happens weekly as well. So the next page here, we have our chair exercises for stroke recovery. And so this is a cool program that we were able to bring virtually as well. And it just offers, it's different, but it offers the same supports that you would have gotten in person as well. So it is led by a certified fitness trainer, of course, who is knowledgeable on how to also, provide fitness training for individuals who have experienced a stroke. So all you need for this is a chair that doesn't move and doesn't have armrests, or a wheelchair with the brakes on and armrest removed, room to stretch out your arms and legs, water, and then a pillow. So it's easily something that can be done in your living room. You don't need any special equipment. You just need a safe place to sit and stretch out a bit. So our after stroke virtual conversation, this happens twice a week, as you saw on the calendar. First on Tuesdays at 1 and then Thursdays at 10. We had a great response to this group, and so we did add the second time on Thursdays in the morning just to give a little bit more flexibility, and if someone can't come in the afternoon, they can now come in the morning. And this is where you can join survivors and caregivers to meet, share knowledge and resources. And so it's casual. It's very much like a group of friends coming together and just chatting. We have our coordinators who do plan topics, but that being said, if we find that the discussion is going a certain way based off of what we feel they need to talk about, that's where it goes. It's very natural, very organic. It's a great way to kind of dip your toes into the new virtual programming. If you know someone who may be a little bit nervous or hesitant to join, this is a great place to start because it is casual. You can drop in, come back 2 weeks later, and you haven't missed anything important. It's just a great way to chat and connect with people who have lived a shared experience. And so we have also our virtual stroke recovery program. So this is to connect with other stroke survivors for discussion, exercise session, and cognitive games. So this one is a bit more programmed to recovery, specific to recovery, in that there are exercises and there are games that you're playing that aid in recovery, whereas the virtual conversation is much more casual. So two options there, kind of depending on the need of the survivor. Next, please. And then we also have our individual support. This is something that we have really been working on and trying to enhance upon even during this time. And so for those who may be familiar or maybe not be, we have our Peers Fostering Hope program. When we're able to meet in person, we have trained stroke survivors and caregivers who go into the hospital rooms of stroke survivors and offer that peer support. Of course, things have changed a little bit now, but we were able to adapt this to a virtual atmosphere. So instead of being in the hospital room and having a conversation that way, survivors are now talking through Zoom or telephone calls, whichever they prefer, and providing support that way. And you know what, we've actually had some great success with this. It's different, but people are adapting really well. And we're still receiving referrals. People are still being put in the hospital. And so we're still able to offer that support, and we're really proud of that. It's just different, of course. And so something we have also really been working on during this time is our individual support for caregivers. We have been funded by the Ontario Trillium Foundation to provide caregiver support. And so we do have a caregiver project. You'll recall I mentioned a bit earlier about our 2 weekly groups that are starting back up in September. There's the one that is a bit more presentation based. We have professionals come in, share their expertise, talk about a certain subject, and then there's a bit of a question and answer period. And then the other one is more peer support group based. There's still led discussion, but it's a group of individuals who are able to speak. But in terms of individual support, we've also kind of taken inspiration from our Peers Fostering Hope program and transformed it for caregivers. So we receive referrals for caregivers in the community who are just reaching out and saying, hey, you know what, I would just love to talk to someone that knows what I'm going through. And as we know, being a caregiver is difficult. It's hard to find the time. And so it's a slow start for this program, but we are always looking for any caregivers. And maybe they aren't a caregiver of someone who has experienced a stroke. It could be a caregiver of any sort. And again, Zoom, telephone calls, whatever they are most comfortable with. We know some people don't like being on camera, and that's completely okay. And so, like I said, we've had a start here. We have amazing volunteers who are eager and ready to go and have made their calls. And so this is something we're really trying to push and to spread word about in the community, because caregivers just need that support. And we are offering it. So would love to chat about that more if anyone is interested. If you want to go to the next slide. Sorry, thank you. So we also have our Aphasia and Communication Disabilities program, otherwise known as ACD. Our ACDP program is an adult day program that supports people with an acquired communication disorder as a result of stroke, brain injury, or brain illness. The focus is on building upon a client's abilities and strengths, increasing communication skills, and enhancing life participation. So our program locations are Newmarket, Maple, Vaughan, Stouffville, Whitby, and Peterborough. Next, please. All of the ACD programs have been able to shift towards virtual platforms as well. Intakes are still taking place, just they're being completed virtually now. And the cool thing about this is anyone can refer. So referral applications can be found on our website, marchofdimes.ca/ACDP, and submitted via HPG ABI network, or just via email to June at the email provided there. So we're continually taking referrals and intakes. So next page, please. So I know this is kind of a very brief overview of what we're offering right now, and of course we'll be able to take some questions after the next presentation as well. But if you do want to reach out and have a bit more of a discussion or just see what we're offering, you can check out our website, generalmarchofdimes.ca, or After Stroke website, as well as our Facebook group is always up to date on what we're offering. If you have any specific questions or just want to chat, that's my contact information down there as well. I'd be happy to discuss with you anything that we talked about or any other questions you might have. So that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rainey. Let's pull up the next presentation. All right, Kathy, please go ahead and I will advance your slides for you.
Awesome. So I think my introduction was pretty straightforward. I'm one of the program managers at Brain Injury Services, and I actually manage the day programs, which I'll go into a bit further later. We also have another program manager, Rebecca Swift, who manages our outreach services. You can go to the next slide. And so traditionally, in real nutshell, for the services that we offer are day program and outreach services with a focus on community integration. And sometimes people think that because we're called a clinic that we have clinical services where we're able to do assessment and treatment. So we don't have that. Our focus is community integration, education, and support. So as part of that, we have educational groups and drop-in as part of the outreach services. Anybody can refer, self-referral, physician, agency, they can come from anywhere. But we do have to have a documentation of the acquired brain injury from a physician. And so generally we work with people up to the age of 65, but we definitely assess suitability if someone is vibrant and active and really interested in receiving services. Right now, intakes are done virtually, in the office, in person, in the community, just with the use of PPE and physical distancing as we're able. Next slide. So I've kind of given you in the handouts and in these slides kind of a picture of what things looked like pre-COVID and then through the stages. And the reason I've done that is just to show you really how far we've come and what things are looking like now. So traditionally, we are doing intakes in the home, in the community, in our office spaces, and providing outreach services in the community and in people's homes and in offices, if that's what makes sense for the client and their family. So we have 3 sessions monthly through September to June in our Barrie location, which is educational type groups, which could be anything from cognitive strategies, planning, stress, coping, nutrition, physical activity, those types of things. Sessions are about an hour and a half long. And we were providing Muskoka education groups twice a month in the Muskoka area, drop-in weekly every single Thursday in the Barrie location all year, 12 months, and then 4-day programs twice weekly in Midland, and Aurelia on Tuesdays and Thursdays, in the Barrie and Collingwood locations on Mondays and Wednesdays. Next slide. And this is what happened in stage 1. We moved actually quite quickly to virtual groups we were offering groups in April virtually, and some limited one-to-one services, mostly through phone calls, porch drops. Pretty much that was it. And we stopped taking any new intakes at that time. As we went into stage 2 on the next slide, we were started doing intakes virtually, so over a month ago, and in person if necessary, using PPE and physical distancing. We started providing outreach services one-to-one if there were some significant risks with health, loss of housing, safety, food security, people didn't have other supports. So we were doing that in phase 2, mostly physical distance as able outside with PPE protocols in place. And then we were able to offer increased virtual options through outreach and day program. So we were able to go from, in April, offering, I think we offered 17 virtual groups in April with a total of 97 attendances. And by August, we were offering 73 groups with an attendance of 253. So pretty impressive that we were able to provide services in that way. So current programming, next slide. So I've separated us into 2 areas, and although I will say one thing that's happened in this COVID environment is we've really become more, we're overlapping a lot more, so we're not sort of a day program team and an outreach team. We are just meeting the needs where we can, and where we need to put staff, that's what we're doing, and whether that's in someone's home or in our office settings where we can, that's what we're doing. But currently in our day program, we're offering a hybrid model. So we are doing twice weekly virtual brain busters types groups. So those are games and cognitive exercises online. We are doing the VON Smart Exercise program twice weekly. And part of that at the end is a bit of a music group, whether we have someone playing music that we're listening to or doing music trivia, that type of stuff. In the Barrie location, we're on site doing 1-to-1, 2-to-1 recreation activities, although this week we've already added and are doing 3-to-1 groups on site. One of the issues in our other locations, Collingwood, Midland, and Orillia, is space. We have been sort of, I would guess the word is, kicked out. We don't have access to any space anymore. That's really the only reason we aren't offering programming in those areas right now in the day program. And we are also, what we've added to clients who are interested in a more day program sort of philosophy, is we are meeting with people in the community or in their home using PPE and physical distancing as able. So we ran a group this week with our Midland program where they met at a park where we knew that the facility was open, where there were picnic tables, where we could space people out, referring where they did just games and things. And then next 2 weeks from now, they're doing an art project in the park. And then we're continuing with, we've added a virtual meditation drop-in, 30 minutes twice weekly in the afternoons on Mondays and Wednesdays. In the outreach, a hybrid model again, twice weekly virtual groups, which are education focused or peers focused. And again, that meditation group is open to all clients in our programs. I've been offering a virtual mindfulness ambassador program. So that's a mindfulness training that's 12 sessions long that I started in session stage 1 virtually. And I have to say, I'm actually pretty happy with how we've been able to make that work with about a small group of about 6 people. And then we're doing one-to-one outreach in the community, in the home, physical distancing, PPE. All clients are being seen if we can be safe. I think that's it. Our calendars are available on our website, and how they are, you'll see a big button for calendars, and then it will be by day program and by outreach. So there are 2 separate calendars. The reason that is day program clients don't sign up for groups. It's just kind of automatic and they're invited to everything, whereas the outreach calendar, clients can pick and choose sessions that they would like to attend to. And that's a simple phone call or email to Rebecca, and then we add people to the calendar. Next slide. I put a case example in here. I don't know if this interests people or not, but just to give an idea of sort of the process at our agency. And so we received a referral for someone for day program, and then the world sort of shut down and we weren't able to provide services right away, and they thought they would wait. And because things have become prolonged, I thought we need to really get out and see these people. So this is someone who has had, I'll call it a stroke, and had been receiving a bunch of clinical services from the LHIN, was supposed to go to RBH for outpatient, everything stopped. And so at the intake, I was, able to review what her needs were and then put those referrals back in place for the LHIN. We were able to do the intake wearing face shields, because sometimes when there's a communication difficulties with someone with aphasia, we don't don the mask and we use face shields in place of that and spread ourselves out so that the communication works. And we do that on site and in any of our outreach where that's an issue. So a lot of people are struggling with wearing a mask, and so we do a lot of education and work with clients around wearing a mask comfortably and safely, but we also will assess whether it's appropriate for us to just wear a face shield so that we can work with people. We don't want to stop services. So this person will be starting actually one-to-one outreach with one of our day program staff initially to really start working on getting them connected through virtual means. So we provide that as an initial piece. We go into the home and really do hands-on to help get people set up virtually. And then hopefully this person will be able to attend some virtual groups with support from staff and be referred to the March of Dimes Aphasia group online, and then hopefully at some point be able to participate in person in some of our other group activities as able in our day program. Next slide. So chronic COVID, I don't like calling it that. I should have put something else there. But I guess that the most important thing for people to really realize is we will not shut down now. We feel that we have put in all of the protocols in place on site in our Barrie location and for people working in the community with regards to how to work with people, how to use protective equipment and keep people safe. And of course, anything, any program, anything people do with us is voluntary. So that's all just taken into consideration. I think the best thing, we always have somebody in the office. We've had some people in the office the entire time. So sometimes it's just easier to pick up the phone, give us a call. There's always a staff person here that can ask questions with regards to referral, suitability, that sort of thing. And we can always book an intake and explore what's available or how we can support somebody so that it's easier to sort of get an idea of what we're doing and how we can be helpful. Sometimes you just need to meet people. And we are guided by what our clients feel is safe. I think I explained how we're using PPE. Next slide. So we have a caregiver peer support group that is facilitated by Andrea Ravazzi, a family member of, actually her partner is not receiving services from us. And so this group is traditionally run in the Barrie office where people can come in. It's run at 6:30 at night, the first Wednesday of the month. And it's really support and problem solving and an opportunity for people to meet with a peer. So this program is available to anybody. You don't have to have someone receiving any services from us for a family member to be eligible to participate. So the easiest way is to just give Andrea an email, and if that's not available, call us at the office and we can make sure we link you with Andrea. So currently we're doing it virtual via Zoom, same time. What I have really enjoyed about the virtual opportunity being kind of thrown at us is that we're actually working with more people, clients who have been really isolated in a more rural area, who have access to Wi-Fi, who couldn't get out, are participating in programs where they wouldn't have been able to before. We're also able to better link clients in group activities because geography isn't a barrier. So I have in my mindfulness, 12-week mindfulness program, I have people from the entire Muskoka-Simcoe area that would not otherwise have been able to get together. So we're able to create sort of critical mass that way. I think that's it for that. Next slide. And then the other piece is we have an ABI, or Acquired Brain Injury Navigator, for as part of the North Simcoe Muskoka ABI Collaborative. So this is 4 agencies: the LIN, York Simcoe Brain Injury Services, who they're connected to Mackenzie Health and have behavioral consultants, March of Dimes, and us, we're BIS. And so if anyone ever has a question about what services make sense, how to get some support with regards to even maybe rehab programs in hospital settings, anything to do with ABI, Alicia Nichols is your person. So she's the person to contact to ask those types of questions. If she's not available, you could still call us to get more information. This collaborative was set up so that it doesn't matter where you come into the system. Say you're referred to a March of Dimes. If our services seem a good add-on or more suitable, then they will make sure that we get that referral. So Alicia Nichols is a great contact and resource person for that. And then just before I finish, maybe I'll just describe what we've done, because I think people are interested. I wish I should have put pictures in, is what we've done in our Barrie office for space is we have lots of plexiglass on our group tables that is movable, so we can create safe spaces for clients and different mixes of clients. So people are wearing PPE, then we have a plexiglass space in between clients, and then you can also wear the face shield. And right now we're investigating getting some things made to put between people who we want to be able to sit side by side in the space. So that's what it looks like if you came into the Barrie office. So I think I'm done. That's it. And any questions are welcome.
All right, thank you so much, Kathy. We do have one question. So just a reminder to all of our attendees, please remember to type any of your questions into the questions panel, or alternatively, you can use the chat box as well. So I will read out the first question that I have. And Rainey, this is actually a question for you, I believe. So it's, if someone lives in an area where there isn't a Peers Fostering Hope program at the local hospital, can they still access the virtual Peers Fostering Hope services?
Yes, absolutely. Right now, no matter where you are, if you need that support, we're willing to offer that to you as well. So yeah, 100%. If you could be outside the region, still give us a call or email us, and we will certainly work something out.
Great. All right. Another question has come in, this one for Kathy. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. It's for Rainey as well. Similar question about access for the ACD program. If someone doesn't live in the local area, can they still attend programs virtually?
Yes, definitely. Now that everything's virtual, it's much easier to welcome people from outside these regions, which has been great. You know, we've actually had some people from out of province and even out of the country come participate. So yes, open to everybody right now.
Okay. And another question has come in. I believe it's for both of you. So is there a wait list for services offered virtually? So maybe Kathy, you could start.
Sure. So, I mean, we traditionally have a wait list for outreach services. Because of the way we're running programs like now, as Rainey has said, because of the virtual opportunity, we're really unlimited as to who we can follow and how we follow people, because we're just really able to be so creative. And even with outreach services. So you should always refer, always put that in, because we can be pretty creative, and we can be creative as well with within the collaborative. So if we have someone who's has a relatively newer stroke and they're receiving clinical services such as OT, speech, those types of things through the LIN, as part of the collaborative, we can sometimes get creative in getting in. So refer, call.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know what? I second what Kathy says for us as well. We don't currently have a wait list for our programs. You know, like Kathy said, it's virtual in a way. At first we thought, okay, this might limit us. It's actually opened up a lot of opportunities and new ways to do things. So yeah, keep coming. We're welcoming as many people as we can. And like with some of our programs, we've added on additional days if we do have that need. So yeah, right now we don't have limits.
All right, we have another question for both of you. What has been the feedback from clients about the virtual programs?
Yeah, so I'll go first, Kathy, if you don't mind. We've actually had great feedback. At first, of course, I feel like everybody here was a bit worried about how it would go over, and change is always a bit scary, but we have had, you know, so many people say that they've had more opportunity to reach out, like the people who live in rural communities who maybe wouldn't have been able to come to an in-person group before. They're now able to just hop on their computer and attend. So we've actually been able to kind of expand our reach, interestingly enough, with these limitations that COVID-19 has put on us. So it has been very interesting, but we are receiving great feedback from our participants, which is nice.
Yeah, and I would ditto that clients are saying, please continue this opportunity going forward. Please don't ever stop these groups, because it's been an incredible support and for people to be able to have that. And I think especially with new referrals, probably the first thing we're going to be doing is, if they're not already connected and have the resources to be virtual, we will be helping people with that, because you're going to need it for all kinds of other things as well. One of the things I would say is our day program morning group, the Brain Busters, is a large group. And so people who have aphasia or have some communication difficulties find it overwhelming. But the beauty of virtual is we can say, well, let's just add another group. When does it work for these 3 clients? Who would work well together? And let's just throw it in. So we can be very flexible around supporting people's needs. We problem solved a group yesterday where I said, guys, it's too noisy, it's too busy. I said, you have to find a way. And so they muted all the microphones, called on people individually, and the group went amazing. And the feedback was, that was great. So we're all in this together. I will say we did a group. Yeah, we did a group in Midland where we met our clients in the park, and that was overwhelming for people. And so I think we really have to be considerate of some of the fear of actually being in person. So we're really just going to slow down, continue to offer for people who are interested, but we're just going to offer 1-to-1 and 2-to-1 moving forward when we can't do the bigger, more traditional things. So I guess that's a long answer for very positive feedback.
Great. One more question for both. Did you have to provide technological support to clients to get used to the Zoom platforms, etc.?
Did you say technological support?
Yes.
Psychological?
Yes.
Yeah. So you know what? Most have been figuring it out quite well, and but we do receive a lot of calls sometimes for people who need a bit of help and a bit of guidance, and we do provide that support if need be. Of course, we want to make it as easy as possible, but fortunately we use Zoom. It's pretty basic. You just push the link. Sometimes we have people who have issues kind of figuring out how to turn the camera, but it's easy enough to share the screen and show them, right? So there's always going to be someone who has a bit of difficulty, but it's very easy to troubleshoot from our end, so it hasn't been too difficult.
Yeah, and we did a lot of practice sessions with people. So Rebecca and I, we would set up Zoom meetings with people, practice with their family members. Some clients still have a family member set them up, but due to confidentiality, we just ask them to sort of leave the room and keep an eye, and so that people can still participate with some support. And then we've gone into people's homes to set it up. We are offering meditation groups twice a week and mindfulness programs and lots of support, because I think that we all tend to be really hard on ourselves. And so we just emphasize how we're all in this together, and we're all bumbling along and doing our best, and you may get cut off. Call us. It's all good.
All right, I think that's the last question. I'm just going to scan them to make sure. That's the last question. And so thank you both. Thank you to both of our speakers, Rainey Jansma, sorry,
it's a weird name,
and Kathy Solman from Brain Injury Services Muskoka Simcoe for their very informative presentations. Thank you to all of the attendees for participating and for posing some great questions. A few reminders, if I could just advance the slide here. A few reminders, watch for a flyer for the next session in this series, which is being planned for August 24th. So confirmed speakers at this time are from Home and Community Care and from the VON SMART program. Watch also for an email that should arrive in your inboxes tomorrow. This email will include a survey link for you to provide us with feedback on the session. We really value the feedback. The survey is very brief. It's only 3 easy questions. So please follow the link and provide us with feedback. On the email, there will also be a link for the handouts if you weren't able to download them from this module. And it will also provide the link to the website where the video of this session will be hosted within the next few days. So thank you again to everyone for your participation, and have a good day.